Oh, howdy all, grab yourself a drink. It is time for some Path of Exile discussion. Welcome to day 17 of teaser season for patch 3.25 and the upcoming Settlers of Kelgur expansion. Today, we're going to be talking about Grinding Gear Games' video introducing the currency exchange market. This is a video you definitely want to watch, so I'll keep today's video reasonably short so that you can jump over and have a look at the Grinding Gear Games official video on the currency exchange market. That said, there's a couple of things that we'll want to come back to on that topic in a sec. The other thing Grinding Gear Games revealed today is a couple of changes to the patch notes. The most significant of these is the change to the taming. Let's quickly discuss that. In yesterday's video, I mentioned Grinding Gear Games committed to changing the taming before 3.25 went live. And they are doing that, and this change is pretty significant. The taming is now going to have 30 to 40% increased elemental damage with hits and ailments for each type of elemental ailment on an enemy, up from 20% increased damage with hits and ailments per freeze, shock, or ignite on an enemy. This is going to affect existing items in standard. However, to compensate for this increased power for general use, there is going to be a change to two of the other mods which are going away on the taming. It is losing 30% increased elemental damage with attack skills, and it is losing the 30% increased elemental damage. All in all, a well-rolled version of the taming is going to be considerably better than it was in 3.24, because you will be able to quality this. This is now an elemental damage mod, whereas the previous ailment mod that was found on the taming was not an elemental mod. That's going to mean that once you get a qualityed version of the taming that's perfectly rolled, you're going to have a lot of damage. 48% increased damage if you've got shock, 48% increased damage if you've got chill, 48% increased damage if you've got freeze, and 48% increased damage if you've got ignite on the enemy. But there's also the potential to use this in conjunction with alternate ailments as well. So you could use this with Sap, you could use it with Brittle, and you could use it with Scorch. There are definitely going to be some shenanigans that are involved here, and people will be theory crafting exactly how to most optimally use this. This is a buff for the taming, except for people who are planning to use it in conjunction with the Warden Ascendancy, where it was going to be completely broken with the 3.24 wording. You could even use the new version of the taming in conjunction with an Elementalist Ignite build now. One more thing that's really strong with the taming is playing this in duo play. If you have one player who has Secrets of Suffering allocated and one player who does not, that's going to be a tremendous synergy because they're going to be inflicting different ailments to each other, and that's going to cause both players to get the benefits of the taming scaling up even higher. In terms of other changes, Elemental Hit is getting clarification. This is not actually a change. And the totems taunt enemies around them for 1 second while stunned, totem passive mastery. This is back. That was removed previously. There are a number of other things that are typo corrections, such as Tornado Shot of Cloudburst, not Tornado Shot of the Cloudburst. But there are two more things that have a little bit of an impact here. Firstly, Glass Shanks are not getting the increased base critical strike chance. You probably don't care about this. You probably don't use one of those beyond about level 3, but they're not getting the buff that was previously announced for them, so that's a little bit of a nerf there. But probably more important is going to be that suffix modifiers on shield that cause you to gain life when you block can no longer roll is being changed to this does not apply to the Shaper version. So there is still going to be the potential to get really good Shaper shields, which is going to be good when we come to talking about the Gladiator. Side note, I have a video on the Gladiator that is going to be going live about 4 hours after this one. Minor other changes out of the way, the currency exchange market is something that you definitely want to watch Grinding Gear Games' video on, but just a couple of the really quick takeaways you need to know from it. Firstly, it looks like they are going to be balancing the cost to use the currency exchange market in such a way that it is going to be overwhelmingly expensive while you're in Acts 1 to 5, pretty expensive while you're in Acts 6 to 10, and then very easily accessible once you're solidly into maps. This is going to be interesting in that it's going to be a very severe barrier to bot cheaters who now need their bot cheating software to be able to do three things. They need to do automated trading in conjunction with this new currency exchange market system, which is something that's completely new. They need to be able to level through the campaign, and they need to be able to function in maps. This is going to be a massive less multiplier to the amount of bot cheaters that are present in endgame. That said, bot cheaters can still do trading through the existing systems that existed in patch 3.24. Onto the currency exchange market itself, there's a couple of things I want to point out that are important to know about this system. Firstly, it is genuinely instantaneous. If you are accepting someone else's offer, then the transaction occurs instantly. So for instance, let's say you've just been very lucky, you've had a Veiled Orb drop from Katarina, and you want to very quickly trade into 2 Divine Orbs so that you can apply a suffixes cannot be changed to the item that you want to apply your Veiled Orb to. Well, all you need to do is go to the currency exchange market, check the prices for one that you agree to, and give them the Chaos Orbs, and straight away you're going to get what you're after. The second thing of note is that whenever you list a currency item there, the game is going to recommend up to 12 commodities that are frequently traded for that item. And then you can go through those 12 commodities and decide which one you want to list it in, or you can put it in something esoteric if that's what you prefer. Now, I think 12 is probably too many, and the reason for that is that a determined group of players that are willing to manipulate this system are likely to be able to cause uncommon commodities to have really unrealistic prices in certain items. For example, let's say that a group wants to make it look like simulacrums are more expensive than they really are. What they can do is go to the simulacrum and then organize a group of players to just constantly trade between themselves on the trade market. My simulacrum for your 2 Redeemer's Exalted Orbs, my 2 Redeemer's Exalted Orbs for your 1 simulacrum, and so on and so forth. This can be done pretty quickly, and by doing this a lot, you can make it seem like the simulacrum is naturally traded in this esoteric currency. So you might see that the most commonly traded thing against the simulacrum is the Chaos Orb, the second most common is the Redeemer's Exalt, and then the third most common is the Divine Orb. The reason this is effective is that there are probably no other people who are listing simulacrums in Redeemer's Exalted Orbs. So this means that you can dominate the market, set a price, and make that appear really high up on the trade list. The real problem isn't when you get one misleading price up for the simulacrum this way, and you say that it's worth 2 Redeemer's Exalted Orbs when perhaps 0.9 is actually a fair trade. The real problem is when you do this with 8 or 9 different ratios as well. So you have the simulacrum listed as being worth 2 Redeemer's Exalted Orbs, 2.5 Awakener's Orbs, 3.7 Exceptional Eldritch Ichors, 2.3 Orbs of Conflict, and so on and so forth. You can have all of these different esoteric trades that there's probably no organic competition for, and you can do this in order to make the simulacrum look to be more valuable or less valuable than it actually is. This could potentially be a real problem, and I think the best solution Grinding Gear Games could take here is to make it so that esoteric item for esoteric item trades cost considerably more gold than if you're trading commodity for commodity. For example, if you're trading Orbs of Alteration to Chaos Orbs, this is commodity for commodity, that would be a low cost. If it was going to be Orbs of Alteration for the simulacrum, again, this is a commodity for a more esoteric item, only one esoteric item involved, so you can keep the gold cost pretty low. But if you're trading Redeemer's Exalted Orb for simulacrum, that's the sort of time that perhaps that gold cost should be jacked up a little bit, so as to dissuade that particular trade from being listed, which is then going to mean that anyone that tries to do these market PvP shenanigans is going to pay a higher price to do so. The other thing that I want to raise is a way that players will exploit the currency exchange market that I think is actually worth letting people know about. I generally have a policy: if I find a way to break a site like PoE.Ninja, or if I find a way to break something like the currency exchange market, I usually won't go public on it because it will inspire other people to do it. The thing is that this is something that's going to happen anyway, and it's something you want to be on your guard for. What you would do if you wanted to really exploit the currency exchange market in essentially market PvP is find a commodity that can be used in a juicing strategy. This could just be as simple as Harbinger Scarabs. Then go and buy an enormous amount of them, build up quite a stockpile, and relist them at a higher than fair price. Now yours aren't going to sell because there's going to be other people that are listing them at fair price. But what you do then is you go to the Path of Exile subreddit and you make a hoax post. And you say something like, hey, I farmed 27 Fracturing Orbs in 6 hours using Harbinger. Harbinger is completely busted for currency now. And you do this with a view that the currency you're going to make out of this is from the people who believe your post to be in good faith, and then go and buy those sorts of resources off the market in order to attempt to replicate your good luck. Whereas actually, your good luck is that you've succeeded in market PvPing a lot of players. This is something that's going to happen a fair bit in this league. I did want to go public about that just to warn people. If you see someone asserting that a particular strategy is extremely good, just ask for proof. And if there's no proof available, don't believe it. That's my recommendation there. It's not necessarily a lie. They could just have gotten lucky, but there will be people who are going to do this all through the league. Anyways, that's what I wanted to talk about for today. May your Veiled Orbs have interesting results. In a few hours' time, my video on the deep dive into the Gladiator Ascendancy will be up, and hopefully you enjoy that too.